So guys, we're going to look at 3 books this week for you to read. Unfortunately I've lent them out to people here, so I don't have them on my presence, but we'll look at them on the internet and talk about them. First one is The Flying Scotsman. It's about a guy called Graham Aubrey. He was a Scottish cyclist in the 90s, a real eccentric. He broke the world hour record on the track. Nobody had ever heard of him, bar on the domestic scene in the UK, where he was a time trialist really. But he broke the hour record, which hadn't been broken for years. It had been held originally by Eddie Merckx, and then Francesco Moser, the great Italian rider, had broke it in 1984, I think, or 83. And it stood until the 90s when Graham Aubrey, a guy who built his own bike, used bits of parts out of his washing machine. He didn't use science for training. He trained on an old exercise bike in his house, and he smashed the world air record. But he had some really strange ideas on position on the bike, which have proven, he just theory of his own head, but they've been proven to be very aerodynamic and very fast. And it's his fault that the UCI brought in all the regulations on bike position. So he broke the world air record, went on to be world time trial pursuit champion, and had a great ding-dong battle with Chris Boardman, who was the real scientific cyclist who broke the world record himself. But great book. It's not just about the cycling. Graham suffered a lot with depression and with his gender. So there's a great story behind it, and it was a great film as well, The Flying Scotsman. You should look that one up too.
In a small town in Scotland, being picked on was a daily struggle for young Graham Aubrey, until
Merry Christmas, son.
he discovered he was born with a gift that would help him escape into a whole new world. Now, his fascination will become an obsession that will change everything. He will question authority.
Saddles must be 5 centimeters behind the center line of the bottom bracket.
Five centimeters.
He had a hard life, and he's in a good place now. I actually raced against him a couple of times in time trials. He was an incredible time trialist, an incredible athlete, a real eccentric but a complete gentleman, and a really good read. Our next one then is a fictional book. It's called The Rider by Tim Krabbe. So it's actually a fictional story, and it comes from inside the mind of a cyclist, preparing for a race, his training, the day of the race. What's he wearing? Is it cold? What's the other rider wearing? What's he putting in his back pocket? What food is he wearing? And when you read it, you actually get inside the mind of the cyclist, and as a cyclist yourself, you'll understand everything in his head. You know, Jenny, am I in the right gear? Oh, that gear is too easy, that gear is too hard. Am I suffering? Are the others suffering? He looks like he's suffering. I feel terrible here. Should I eat now? Should I drink now? And it's a fascinating, it's a short book. You'll read it in a few days, but it's a great story. And as a cyclist, you really understand it. It's really inside the head of a cyclist. And our third book then, again, a really nice guy, Charlie Beckett. I met him a few times over the years. He actually rode the junior tour here in Ireland a couple of times. He was a professional for a good few years, I think 12, 13 years. And as the book said, it's called Domestique. He was domestique, so he was just a gopher and a helper cyclist on all the professional teams. And he was one of the best domestiques. He never won one race in his whole career, but that wasn't his job. He was paid to do other jobs. If you ever have any aspirations to be a professional cyclist, this book will just put you off wanting to be a professional cyclist. There's no mention of drugs. It's nothing to do with that. It's just how hard a life these guys have, particularly the domestiques. Okay, how little pay they get. Okay, they're on barely scraping a minimum wage. How badly they're treated. How many races they have to ride, and they can't say no, otherwise there's 20 other guys that will take their place. So it's a hard read in places. Eventually, the last few years of his career, he got onto some good teams and they paid him reasonably well. And then he became a domestique then with or not domestique, he became a team manager then with the Garmin team, the States, or EF Education now. Really nice guy. and a fascinating read on the whole ins and outs of professional cyclists and how hard a life they actually have. So that's your 3 books for this week, and we'll talk to you next week. Thank you.